I've been a major Shadow the Hedgehog fan since I was a child. I studied up on all his lore in the games, watched Sonic X, and even played his game. I didn't finish it, I just said played. The point is, because I'm such a Shadow fan, I was really hyped to see the Sonic 3 movie. That end credit scene at the end of Sonic 2 was single-handedly one of the most memorable moments of my 2022. So I'm here to talk about my thoughts on the movie, and if you should watch it. Which yes, the answer is yes, absolutely. Before even really diving into the main hedgehog himself, there are 3 things that I love about this movie as a whole. 1. I really like that it gives all the characters an even amount of screen time. 2. I like that you see Sonic's development from Sonic 2 carry over into this movie. And 3. I like how it also continues the tradition of Tom telling Sonic the central theme with a nice father-son moment. Speaking of which, this scene very pointedly is telling Sonic and the audience the main theme of the movie, about how everyone has choices and that you always have a choice even when things get hard. It is the first of many moments that draws a parallel between Sonic and Shadow. A very important message in this movie that I especially appreciate was about not letting pain change who you are, which I believe is what truly separates heroes from villains. Now, Shadow is what is called a dark reflection, which serves as a reminder to Sonic and the viewer of what he could have been like had he made different choices. There's literally a scene where the two are fighting and Sonic is enraged, and Shadow calls him out on this. While they are opposite in personality, they both had strong connections with family members who they lost. The difference here is that Sonic very quickly made a new family, while Shadow very understandably did not trust humanity or Team Sonic for most of the movie through a series of misunderstandings. Which, by the way, normally I hate misunderstandings in media, but the way this movie handles them is so good. Anyway, even when you see Shadow on Eggman's side, you clearly see scenes where he's vulnerable and shows a sense of morality. It's not like he has blind faith or anything, he's struggling in processing all that he's been through. He asks Robotnik if this is what Maria would have wanted. You see a glimmer of sympathy in his eyes when he realizes that he hurt a family member Sonic was close to. And there's even a scene where he's watching Eggman's silly little soap opera and declares that the woman should kill both of her love interests as she is not a prize to be won. Yeah, what a guy. Of course, those flashback scenes were just as traumatizing as I expected them to be. They did change the way Maria died to be more family friendly, but that didn't make it any easier to sit through. With all the scenes of him and Maria, you both get a sense of their dynamic and how she's really the only person he was ever close with. He opened up to her about how people feared him, how he thought he'd never be accepted, and once again you get that gosh dang parallel with the tapping the heart scene as with what Tom did to Sonic, which just makes what happened even more tragic. Throughout the movie, Shadow really knocks Sonic around like it's nothing. There's even a part where he punches the superness out of him. The only time Sonic ever gets the upper hand is after Shadow chides him for abandoning his friends and family, once again showing Shadow's beliefs of what being a hero means. This is the part where it is clear that Sonic is becoming exactly like Shadow by how he is channeling his grief for vengeance and choosing to take it all out on Shadow for hurting Tom, which was a misunderstanding since Tom looked like a guy who imprisoned Shadow for over 50 years. After Sonic is reminded of Tom's words, he refrains from killing Shadow, and they have a heart-to-heart in space. Sonic refraining from killing Shadow and Shadow choosing to sacrifice himself once again symbolize how everyone has choices and an opportunity to end the cycle of vengeance. As soon as they stopped identifying with their pain, they were able to team up and grow stronger. While it is easy in times of grief to fall victim to anger and vengeance since it feels better and more productive than being depressed, it's obviously not ideal no matter how justified it seems. Alternatively, if pain and suffering is all you've ever known, and you've been shown this cruelty by a certain species that's raised you your whole life, it's understandable that you wouldn't know much basic morality. In this context, Shadow is surprisingly righteous given how little he's really been alive for outside of being in stasis. He did all he could with what he knew, and ultimately still redeemed himself and was willing to die to save humanity, which would have been really tragic if he died, but obviously he doesn't, because he's Shadow, the ultimate life form, best boy of the Sonic universe, so obviously he's not gonna die, as even if the world turns on him,
if the world chooses to become my enemy, I will fight like I always have.